Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of the Transfer Talk, where we'll be discussing the latest Palace transfer rumours of the day. So without further ado, let's get into it. First rumour of the day is on Glenn Kamara. According to the website 90 Minutes, Dynamo Kiev and Dynamo Moscow are both lining up bids for the Rangers midfielder, but Crystal Palace and a number of other clubs are also believed to be interested. So Glenn Kamara is 24 years old, a defensive midfielder at Rangers. And I know some of you are not going to be happy with this. We talked about Harrison Reed the other day, and I mentioned that it'll be interesting to see if we're linked with any other defensive midfielders. And this is the second one in the transfer window so far. But I don't think the defensive midfielder option is a priority for Palace right now, because when you look at it, 31 goals in 38 games, we clearly need to improve on attacking players, and we have been linked with them so far this window. But it's interesting, it's been now two defensive midfielders where it might be a case that a last minute deal, or Palace might just keep an eye open for these players so that they can go and approach them maybe in January or maybe even next summer, because at the end of the day, as I mentioned before, we will need to replace midfielders at some point, because relying on the likes of Luka, James McCarthy, Kouyaté, none of them are young players, and we need to bring more youth into our midfield as well. So it's an interesting story out there, Glenn Kamara, defensive midfielder. But as I said, I feel like Palace are just looking at these options and are not prioritizing them based on the rumours so far this window. The second rumour of the day, the one that you guys have been talking about for a very long time, is on Eberechi Eze. So there's an update by Sky Sports suggesting that Crystal Palace are still in negotiations with QPR over the transfer. Eze news for you guys. I know you guys have been asking for it. It seems like there's an update, not that much of a news, but Palace are still in negotiations, which are positive. It seems like we're still in the race for Eze. As I mentioned in previous Transfer Talk episodes, Eze has been linked with the club, but it seems that Palace are not willing to pay the 16 to 20 million pound valuation that QPR have, and they're just negotiations ongoing. Right now, I don't have a problem with it because we're not in preseason, but in 1 or 2 weeks' time, I think this could be a problem. And hear me out. Right now, as I said, no preseason, so there wouldn't be any disadvantage or advantage if we did bring Eze. Of course, having a player at the club would be a massive plus to the team, but we're not playing football right now. We're not training right now. But in 1 or 2 weeks' time, when you have a player like Eze, who maybe hasn't joined the club when we have started pre-season, then that could be a problem, because you don't want to leave it too late to the start of the season where the player joins in, he's trying to settle in at the club, be familiar with the players, the surroundings, and then the season starts and it's just happening all too fast. And you don't want that to happen. So hopefully the deal can be sorted if it was to be done in a week or 2 weeks' time. I'm not too sure exactly when pre-season is starting, but I don't want it to be a situation where we're in pre-season and we still haven't brought in Eze and we leave it to the last minute and then you bring him in and the season has started. It's just all chaos. I don't want that to happen. Hopefully, Palace can get this done sooner rather than later. But as Sky Sports has said it, we are in negotiations, so fingers crossed. Well, that's it for today's Transfer Talk episode. Update on Eze and also Glenn Kamara, defensive midfielder who's been linked with the club. As always, if you do enjoy the video, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe so you don't miss out on future content. And as always, until next time, up the Palace.